Hello, hello, and welcome back to Sunless Sea. Oh, I'm excited to play more of this game. When we left off, we had started our journey with an extra long, hour-long episode, and we've now arrived in Vanderbright with our cargo entailed. The Tomb-Colonies we were I can use words. The Tomb-Colonies we were transporting. The trouble with tomb colonists. You brought this decaying immigrant north. Now what? We can help out an immigrant. Your tomb colonist passenger yanks off her bandages. She looks remarkably healthy for a tomb colonist. I'm not as dead as I look, she confesses. And I won't get ashore without your help. Yes, the constables are looking for me back home. Is that a problem? Ah, she's a criminal on the run. Or we can make no promise of discretion. Keep your nose clean. You'll drop her off at the dock, as you promise, and after that, it's her problem. Well, let's help her out. You know, we're a fellow urchin. We understand the struggle. Let's pop all this back out now that we're docked. Your tomb colonist passenger yanks off her bandages. She looks remarkably healthy for it. Oh wait, you already read that part. Muffled oars. You slip your few... God, sorry, my asthma's acting up a little. You slip your furtive passenger past the skin check post and the confirmation of consolation. Thanks, Captain, she remarks casually. Let me teach you a couple of tricks, just in case you do this again. Here's a little hush money. You brought a criminal to Vanderbright and assisted her. You've gained 1 Vales. Woo! Gained 200 Echoes. Woo! We now have Manacles, Suspicion. Manacles, Suspicion. Oh, you rapscallion. This will increase as you conduct criminal activities or have contact with rough sorts. The higher your suspicion, the more frequently excises will search your ship. And we've lost our tomb colonist we were carrying. Alright. Tomb colonies. Few die and fall in London. They come here instead. The tomb colonies of Vanderbright. Mana says? Is that what that was? I was reading that wrong. Mana says. On deck, you can hear the sound that you can hear the sound that 1,000 bandaged dead make as they shuffle and cough. It's something like the world's most restless concert audience, or the most plague-ridden cathedral. All right, bunch of things we could only do if we had a submarine. Yeah. Mana says. Yeah, I'm gonna do that a lot. Read things wrong. It's danger, not handcuffs. Okay. Thank you. I'm equal. I don't want to read. So let's see here. We can explore Vanderbright, expanding our something awaits you. Which is, we always know if we have something awaits us, because this is always lit up when we do. Let's look away from that. The first Z curator. Or the first curator. Sorry, I looked at the word Z while I was reading. We can gather gossip, unlocked if we don't have gossip. Last tour operator. That's a separate thing. Okay. So let's skip the Vanderbright one for now and start from the top. The first curator. Z captains. The first curator gives audience. The first curator is responsible for... Oh, excuse me. God, like I said, a little bit of... I have heartburn and asthma hitting me at the same time. Just means authorities will look a bit closer at you until you get rid of it. Alright, yeah. The first curator is responsible for the preservation of the tomb colonies. It has been here much longer than London, like all the oldest tomb colonists. But even tomb colonists dissolve in the end. Its time is close. The first curator... Oh yeah, okay, we already read that. No more light. The obscure steward cautions you. The curator is terribly afraid of moths. He opens the door, and you step into near darkness. A pair of luminous lamplighter bees buzz into a lattice ivory tube. There is no other source of light. A banded shape, no larger than a child, lays crumpled on a couch. It lifts its head with obvious effort. It takes several seconds for you to distinguish its voice from the soft buzz of bees. Let's listen to its whispered requests.
See, Captain. Not much left for me. I will go into the Grand Sanatorium. Colors. 7 colors.
Oh, hang on, I'm whispering too much.
7 colors.
7 colors?
Here we go. Here and there, across the wide sea.
I don't know how much my soft whispering picked up there, but there's subtitles for you anyway. Alright. The Grand Sanatorium. One hears the name whispered, here and there, in the arcades of Vanderbright. A long, low chuckle. I'll try and raise the voice a little more, hang on.
Oh, silk skin, you don't want to know. We don't die here below, not unless we go to Z, so we needed something else, somewhere to end.
I'll accept your commission.
Thank you. This poor flesh thirsts for colors.
No more words. It collapses, rustling back on the couch. Even the efforts of speaking seems to have diminished it a little. The audience is over. As the door opens, it shrinks from the finger of light that reaches across the floor. Outside, the obscure stirred nods. The book. Yes. The book. He hands you a slim illustrated volume. The curator is old. Old as dust. We will all be grateful if you do this one last favor. You have won the Neathbow. Pages from the Neathbow. Aposion, Cosmogon, Gaunt, Irigo, Peregrine, Violent, and Vuric. This is one of the large quests I've, again, only ever scratched the surface of in my past. It's in our hold. Here we go. The Neathbow, a book for children. One page is devoted to each of the colors of the Neath, which are not found on the surface. So it's a collection of new colors. Return to the curator with each of the 7 impossible colors in hand. The book pages give you clues, but you'll need to seek far ports. I like to think the colors here are mere shadows of what they actually are. A reflection of a reflection of a reflection. Apokion. A wakes Apokion. The blue memory of brightest coral. The blue of memory and brightest coral. C lights Cosmogone. The color of remembered suns. The facade of the fortitude, the fungal. These flourish in the glow of Cosmogon. G is lost in Gant, which remains when all other colors are eaten. Gant can be found where shadows are myriad. I is for Irigo. No one remembers why. Irigo colors the forgotten corners of home. P drowns in Pelican, the colors of the deepest sea. Someone has scrawled in the margins. Beyond the gate there is a sea more sunless. V marks violent. When blood is shed in a spared place, violent ink is employed for the most desperate treaties. A page from the and Vieric. Behind your mirrors, V names Vieric, a color of shallow sleep. Akabiv. 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 The Neathbow. Akabiv. Alright. Explore Vanderbright. Curator. Let's gather gossip. Who is plotting what out in the Tomb-Colonies? Along the coasts of the Untersee, it's remarkably hard to die. The decrepit and nearly dead who love London become tomb colonists and settle here in the bandaged peace. But they don't give up their ties to home or their polities. You gather a haul of complex clues, enough to keep your contacts in London interested. We've got another port report. Okay, we can't do the last operator. What do we need? This will replace 12 supplies with 12 tomb colonists. We don't got 12 supplies, that's why. Who you'll need to take to 3 destinations in the Untersee. If your objective, so we got to bring a bunch of food to do that. All right. Let's go ahead and explore Vanderbright. Here they favor candlelight over gaslight. The shadows are swaged like cobwebs. The tomb colonists stand still enough to be mistaken for sculptures until they laugh or cough. One building in 3 seems abandoned. I have words. I can never tell if streamers are just mispronouncing words or actually reading them wrong. Sometimes what they're saying has dramatically different meaning from what's written. Listen, I can read. I would say generally with this, assume if I'm reading something wrong, I'm reading it wrong accidentally. and correct me. I have this thing where when I read text, I sometimes like I see the first and last letter and put a word there that's not there. You know what I mean? I incorrectly assume syllable clusters that don't exist. It's a problem that I try to fix, but I'm not good at. Remnants. Is it? I don't see. I've had some people say that it sounds like I have dyslexia, but I've never been diagnosed. Remnants. In a wide space behind the hollow temple, you happen across a steeped platform of sorts. 4 statues guard it, marked with glyphs, all but lost to time and idle vandalism. They look a little like glyphs that decorates the Echo Bazaar in London, though. At the heart of the... Sorry, I was reading the comment, that's why I went silent. At the heart of the platform... I should read them aloud every time. At the heart of the platform is a long-filled well shaft. At the heart of the platform is a long-filled well shaft, too. I can read. You poke about briefly, but something in this place makes you uneasy. A frost moth, the size of a farmer's hand, flutters down to perch on the well's edge. Another. A third. You retreat. A bunch of frost moths, just giant frost moths. That's terrifying. I kind of don't like moths. If a moth is bigger than an inch across, it makes me so uncomfortable. Well, that's all for now. And I think... Alright, that's all we have to do for stuff. Let's look in our... let's look at the shops here real fast. We have the Arcade of Signs. Here, the solemn bandage merchants of the colonies trade old coins for brighter things. So they'll buy wine and Firefox candles. Again, if you guys know of good halls using docks I've already visited, let me know good trading trips. Did they teach you phonetics or sight reading? I've been reading a lot of news stories saying American schools have been moving on to sight reading because it gets fast results, even though it can cripple. Listen, I was in a poorly funded special ed class because I'm autistic. I was not taught well at all. I have a lot of fun stories about my education that I can actually sail when I get to sea. So give me a moment. We can buy fuel and supplies if we need them, which we don't. The Hollow Temple. The image of a long-snouted... Yeah. Of a long-snouted temple reptile god still stands in the temple. But now storytellers gather here. So we can sell stories of different Yeah, so we can sell stories for money. Man. Monstrous Almanac, 1,000 echoes, damn. Visions of the Surface seem to fetch a pretty price. And the Charnel's... The Charnel Lounge. Carnal Lounge? The Carnal Lounge. That's Carnal, isn't it? Carnal. I can read. Do you have tomb colonists? Drop them off here for payment. Alright. I think we're good to set off. So, let's talk a little bit about our route. I think I'm going to try and curve out a little bit and swing down into Hunter's Keep. I think that's my plan. And as we go, we will try and set out with our Z-Bat frequently. But yeah, so I can share some fun stories about my raising, like I said. Ooh, hang on. Running mushroom mine from one to the Tomb Colonies is a very standard trip leg, but you're never going to make much money from repeatable trade routes in this game. Think of yourself primarily as a spy and a courier, not a bulk hauler. So, would you say it's generally a good idea if I know I'm going north to buy a cup? Yeah, it's okay. I realized what you're saying. To try and pick up mushroom wine on my trip. Because if that's a good idea, I'll try and remember it and do it going forward. Way back in the day, I tried to keep notes on value of things in different places, but I kind of don't remember my notes. Because it's been over a year since I played this. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, only give me advice if it pertains to a dock we've already visited in the playthrough. Oh, Can's Abyss been discovered. It's very little money margin, but it's consistent and easy to do. Alright. As I was saying, though, the, words. Yeah. So, there's a fun story about my education system. I spent most of my education in the, in special ed classes, because I was autistic. Or, I am autistic. And when I started to get into middle school, there is a fun story of... Get ahead in this game, you have to glean every little bit you can. Yeah. Ooh. Here, the wilder airs mingle with the airs of the near reaches of Demex's Gate, named for the navigators lost above. How did his bones come below? Ah. So that gives us a hint of the type of ocean we're in, what we might be able to see. Oh, giant crab up to the north. Let's, tuck all of this away so we can see what we're doing better. But yeah, I was in... Ooh. Some distance to the east. Mexis Island. Did we have to go there? Okay, so we're gonna turn our direction and try and head to that. Let me look in my journal. Where do they want us to go? Gator's Morn. Okay, not to Mexis Gate. Well, we'll continue going that way, though. Anyway, though. Or to Mexis Island. Anyway, what I was saying. An electric shiver in the air. Storm is watching, the sailors would say. Okay. So, no X, so it's Demau Island. Not Demox, but Demau. Thank you. Yes, spent a lot of time in special ed courses, and a big result, or what I was saying was in middle school. So before, there had been 3 different distinct special ed courses. There was the lightly special ed, which is what I was, and like kids with dyslexia and small social problems. Then there was the severe special ed classes for kids who like literally couldn't talk because of their mental disabilities. And then there was the anger management classes for kids with severe anger management. Now, at some point, somebody thought it was a good idea to save money by mixing these 3 classes, meaning they were putting kids who had violent outbursts in the same room as kids who literally couldn't talk and could barely walk. I think you can see why that was fucking stupid. And that's when I really started getting in gear, being like, I need to learn what my disability was, because nobody had ever told me in my life. So I went and asked some people, like, what do I have? Well, first I asked my parents, and they literally didn't remember. They were like, oh, we don't remember. They told us at some point. I'm like, oh, thanks. And so I started talking to, like, the people in my school, and they told me I had I had Asperger's. That term's been recycled now. I'm high-functioning autistic. I had Asperger's, so I started reading the symptoms of Asperger's, and I learned what I have, and I started doing everything I could to get out of the class. Demo Island. Okay, thank you. Yeah, but yeah, so that's a fun story of my education. I don't share a lot of stories of my youth, but there's a lot of stories of my youth I can share as I go. But anyway, we're at the 20-minute mark and at a new dock, so I think we're going to wrap up this episode for the YouTube people, but we're going to keep going here on Twitch. So, those who watch on YouTube, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Sunless Sea. And cards will be appearing in a moment. Be sure to come back next week for the next episode. And while you're here, go check out some of the other stuff going on. Like Detroit. The Detroit Become Human series I'm doing with my brother goes up the same day as this. Very, very fun game. Love you all. Yep, people with issues thrown in a pit. Exactly. That's the American education. I hope you've all been having a wonderful day. Love you all very, very, very much. And ta-ta for now.